It's official. The Angel Reese era in Chicago has come crashing down. What was once hyped as the rebirth of the Chicago Sky has now turned into one of the ugliest implosions in WNBA history. This isn't just about a few bad games or locker room tension. This is a complete franchise collapse, with Angel Reese right at the center of the chaos. The same player the media once pushed as the league's next superstar has become the face of dysfunction, defiance, and disappointment. The Chicago Sky, sitting on a humiliating 9-30 record, have turned into the league's biggest punchline, and their supposed cornerstone is quietly plotting her exit. It all began with subtle hints, cryptic social media posts, vague comments about new beginnings, and teammates leaving without explanation. The tension was thick, but the breaking point came when Angel dropped that now infamous line on social media. P.S. Making decisions for yourself is a liberating feeling. For fans still clinging to the hope that she was committed to the rebuild, that was the red flag. Those weren't the words of a leader rallying her team. That was the signal flare of a player mentally packing her bags, and from that moment, everything began to spiral. The first major crack came when head coach Teresa Weatherspoon, the very coach who believed in Reese and vouched for her talent, was abruptly fired. Instead of responding with professionalism or motivation, Angel took it personally. She reacted emotionally, posting cryptic messages online that made it clear she saw Weatherspoon's dismissal as betrayal. Her frustration wasn't contained within the locker room, it was broadcast for the world to see. That was the moment the line between personal feelings and team responsibility vanished. What should have been a chance to regroup and refocus turned into another chapter in a growing soap opera. Under new head coach Tyler Marsh, the atmosphere didn't improve. Reports began surfacing of open defiance during huddles and visible tension on the sidelines. But the moment that truly defined this meltdown came during a live game, a timeout that would go viral for all the wrong reasons. Cameras caught Angel Reese slapping a clipboard straight out of an assistant coach's hands. That wasn't passion. That wasn't leadership. That was pure frustration boiling over in front of millions of viewers, and it told you everything you needed to know about where this team's culture had gone. It's one thing to argue strategy. It's another to embarrass your coaching staff on live television. That kind of behavior doesn't just undermine authority, it poisons an entire locker room, and that poison is now visible in every game. The chemistry is shattered. Watch closely and you'll see teammates glancing her way in the post and deliberately ignoring her calls for the ball. Some even force up bad shots rather than trust her with possession. When your own teammates would rather risk a turnover than involve you, that's not just tension, that's mutiny. It all came to a head during a post-game press conference when veteran Elizabeth Williams, sitting right beside Angel, made a thinly veiled jab about taking care of the ball, a clear reference to Reese's league-leading turnover rate. The body language said it all. There was no unity left, just silent resentment simmering beneath the surface. And what's worse is how familiar this pattern feels. This isn't new behavior for Angel Reese. Her critics have long accused her of quitting when things get tough. Back in college, when adversity struck at Maryland, she transferred to LSU. Now in Chicago, the same script seems to be playing out again. As the team season unraveled, a mysterious back injury suddenly appeared, keeping her sidelined for weeks without a clear diagnosis or timetable. To some, it looked like bad luck. To others, it looked like a calculated escape, the classic move of someone who checks out when the heat gets too intense. But here's where the story takes a cruel twist. Angel might be ready to walk away, but the league doesn't seem ready to follow her. Her market value has plummeted. On paper, the numbers aren't terrible, but they're not impressive either. She's shooting a mediocre 44%, turning the ball over nearly 5 times a game, and her plus-minus shows that the team actually performs better when she's off the court. In other words, the supposed franchise cornerstone is statistically dragging the team down. Those aren't the kind of numbers that make general managers pick up the phone. In fact, insiders are whispering that her trade value has completely cratered, that multiple teams have already passed on the idea of taking her in. And it's not just the stats, it's the baggage. Teams don't want to inherit a locker room powder keg. No executive wants to trade for a player known for emotional outbursts, public drama, and tension with coaches. As one source bluntly put it, she brings more headlines than wins. That's a devastating label for a young player still trying to prove herself at the professional level. The comparison to her peers makes it even worse. Take Caitlin Clark, for example. She's endured relentless physicality, unfair officiating, and the weight of being the league's biggest draw, yet she carries herself with composure and professionalism. Meanwhile, Angel has turned her frustrations into a brand, leaning on social media clapbacks and viral moments instead of growth and consistency. Clark has become a symbol of resilience. Reese has become a case study in wasted potential. The gap between them isn't just skill, it's maturity. The Chicago Sky have finally realized what everyone else already knew. The experiment failed. The organization that once bent over backward to accommodate her is done. No more desperate trades, no more image protection. They've moved on to building around players who actually want to compete and grow. Even their marketing seems stuck in denial, celebrating Angel as player of the game after losses, as if posting a graphic could hide the dysfunction. It's like rewarding mediocrity just to keep the illusion alive. That's not team pride, that's desperation. Now, Angel Reese stands at the biggest crossroads of her career. She can take accountability, humble herself, and rebuild from the mess she helped create. Or she can force her way out and learn the hard way that not every franchise will tolerate the attitude that Chicago did. If she walks, she'll likely find herself on a smaller team with fewer sponsorships, less media coverage, and a coach who won't indulge her theatrics. And maybe then she'll realize that being the big name only matters if you can back it up on the court. The real tragedy here isn't that Angel Reese failed, it's that she never adapted. The league wanted her to be the next big star, fierce, outspoken, marketable, but leadership requires more than slogans and social media buzz. It requires humility, accountability, and self-awareness. Right now, she's lost all three. And as the Chicago Sky continue to rebuild without her energy or discipline, one thing has become painfully clear. The problem was never just the team, it was the person at the center of it. But the story isn't over yet. Angel still has a choice: redemption or irrelevance. If she can grow from this collapse and rediscover the hunger that made her a college phenom, there's still time to rewrite the narrative. But if she continues down this path of deflection and ego, she may find herself out of options before she even hits her prime. Because in the WNBA, no amount of hype can protect you forever when the results stop matching the headlines. So what do you think? Is Angel Reese a victim of a broken system or the architect of her own downfall? Should Chicago have done more to save her, or was this implosion inevitable? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you thought this story was wild, don't miss our next breakdown, where we uncover the shocking truth behind the WNBA's biggest off-court power struggle. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more unfiltered sports commentary, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the stories the mainstream won't tell you.